The events in this program are based on a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Coming up on Bizarre Murders, when an innocent church scavenger hunt unexpectedly leads to a dead body, all signs point to foul play. To catch the killer, detectives will enter into a world of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And this hunt is far from fun and games. Seattle, Washington, 2006. A seemingly quiet Halloween night, Detective Tyler Booker is enjoying a quiet patrol. He's reminiscing about his first case just weeks before, an open and shut homicide by a jealous husband. He's curious if every case will be so easy to solve. Perhaps it's a cruel irony that he then spots a man's leg sticking out from behind a dumpster near the local church. Detective Booker discovers what could be a discarded Halloween decoration of a dead body. But becoming suspicious, Booker checks the body for a pulse, only to realize to his horror that it's an authentic corpse.
It probably doesn't surprise anyone that bodies are found on Halloween, and there's hardly a tougher time to investigate because you've got kids from wall to wall. They've all got masks on, good and bad, and really, it's a recipe for disaster.
Detective Booker discovers an alarming clue placed conveniently over the body. Written on a poster board are the words, "Yes, Matthew is dead, but his body not felt. Those brains were not Matt's because his body did melt. For Billy threw Matthew in some hot boiling oil to confuse the police. For the mystery they did toil." He quickly calls for backup.
This is Agent Booker. I got 1144. Requesting backup, over.
When you arrive at a crime scene where there's a body, you have to determine whether this person who is dead because they killed themselves or they accidentally overdosed. Because if that's the case, you can go home and let the coroner take over. But if he was killed by somebody else, that means there's a murderer out there.
Police begin a search of the immediate area, scouring the church grounds for any more clues or accidental evidence the killer may have left behind. What they find are more and more riddles. The next one, found under the mat of the church door, reads, "A quick search inside to find the source of sin, and then near the cemetery to find its victim again." Deciphering the riddle to mean another murder victim could be found in the cemetery or possibly the church's sanctuary, the detectives split up, beginning a wild goose chase for another body.
30 years of movies and TV have inadvertently created a new kind of narcissistic criminal mastermind. The detectives who investigate these kind of crimes tend to lump them into two categories. The first is the eye roll, because these people are never as smart as they think they are. But the second one is the chill down the spine, because if these people think they got away with it the first time, there's going to be a second time.
Police find nothing inside the church, but Detective Booker returns with another riddle from the cemetery. The last clue to end your search: find the altar where Noah's dove would perch. It's an odd clue, and one that leaves everyone of the police force absolutely baffled.
The next thing they've got to do is identify the body, because if the detectives can't make heads or tails of this nice little riddle the killer left, then all they've got is the information Mr. Happy behind the dumpster is going to give them. But they've got to work fast because there's a sick killer out there.
Checking the victim's wallet leads to an identification. The ID belongs to Kurt Flair, a local drug addict and petty theft known to many of the officers at the scene due to prior arrests. But the ID also leaves another clue. The fact that it's there means his killer never had any intention of hiding the identity of his victim. This and the riddles left behind could mean every detective's worst nightmare. It's a random killing. Now they have to hope the toxicology report will come back with new evidence that can help point them in the right direction. In the meantime, Detective Booker takes the riddles in for DNA testing, but the case hits another speed bump when they can't find a matching fingerprint in their database.
The good news is, if this is his first murder, or even his first crime, he's probably not very good at it. And you know how he's learning how to do it? From TV and movies. And cops watch TV and movies too.
Detective Booker's new job just got a whole lot tougher, as he is left to notify Kurt's mother, Karen, of his passing and question her. Karen Flair, sporting a rap sheet that includes prostitution and drug abuse, is no stranger to the Seattle Police Department. And when Booker finds her, she's right in the middle of a bender. The news of Kurt's death barely affects her at all. She says the last time she and Kurt spoke, he had just gotten out of rehab and was swearing he would remain sober. Booker asked her for a list of people who might want to see Kurt dead, but she can't come up with any names.
Consider the world of drug users. They run the gamut from multiple murderers to junkies who wouldn't hurt a fly. And they all have two things in common. Number one, they've seen everything, done everything, been around the block. And number two, none of them will talk to the police.
Coming up short, he turns to the autopsy report to find that Kurt's cause of death was at the hands of a drug called a speedball, an often lethal mix of heroin and cocaine. Across town, police find a solid lead in a drug dealer, Ace Horowitz, who was often seen running in the same circles as Kurt. They quickly bring him in for questioning.
One great thing about drug dealers is if you threaten to charge them with a crime, like accessory to murder, they become very helpful.
According to Ace, Kurt seemingly found religion and sought Ace out to convert him to the faith and save him from his sinful ways. But when Ace wouldn't accept Kurt's help, the two argued and were never to be seen together again. Not having any hard evidence to keep Ace in their custody, he is released. But something about his story strikes Booker as odd. He realized that he never told Ace that Kurt's body was found near a church. But still, Ace told them that Kurt had recently converted to Christianity. Booker quickly realizes his mistake and rallies a group to round him up again. They approach Ace's dilapidated apartment and knocked on the door.
Ace, open up!
Only to find nobody is home. Having probable cause, they quickly burst inside, only to find his apartment empty. A series of riddles hangs above a murder site at a church on Halloween night. When the mother of the deceased claims she hasn't seen her son Kurt in months, police shake down local drug dealer Ace Horowitz. But bad turns to worse when Ace disappears. As officers continue to search for Ace, Detective Booker returns to the scene of the crime one last time to search for more clues. But when he arrives, he finds a group of gawking teenagers waiting outside the crime scene tape, eager to learn what has taken place recently. Showing a little bit of a facial tic, the leader of the group introduces himself as Jeff Torringson, the son of the church's preacher, Pastor Torringson. Thinking that it's possible the kids could know something, Booker explains that the body of Kurt Flair was found on the church grounds 2 nights prior, and that they are still looking for any leads that could help them find his killer. Jeff tells Detective Booker that Kurt was a part of their youth group, and that he had not been answering their calls to attend a Christian rock concert with the band Praise. Upon further questioning, Kurt's standing as a newly devoted Jesus freak becomes all the more apparent as Jeff and his friends rattle on about Kurt's persistence in attending every youth group function the church offered. Jeff even claims that Kurt had expressed interest in attending seminary school, and his father, Pastor Torringson, had promised to pay for it. Booker is stunned to discover that some of Ace Horowitz's story is true, which makes his evading of police all the more suspicious.
Now police don't know what to think because the revelation that Kurt was an active church member corroborates Ace's story, and it also explains why Kurt wouldn't be living with his mother, but police still don't know why he left.
To bypass another rant about church camp activities and trivial kumbaya-esque mantras of faith, Detective Booker asks to speak with Jeff's father before he himself is accidentally converted to Christianity.
Thank you guys again. Really appreciate it.
Detective Booker questions Pastor Torringson on Kurt's history with the church and finds a colorful redemption story. Coming from an unsteady home, Kurt drifted from drug fix to drug fix before a series of stints in rehab finally set him straight. Kurt soon found his way to Paul's congregation, became a born-again Christian, and just recently celebrated 9 months of sobriety from both heroin and alcohol. He was welcomed to the church family by most of the parish and even developed a close bond with Paul himself. When Kurt told the pastor about his tumultuous living situation, the preacher let him stay at the church for as long as he needed.
Religious conversions of drug addicts, we hear it every day, and sometimes we're skeptical about them, but this one seemed real. So if that's true and Kurt was clean, why is he laying dead from a speedball overdose? And why is Ace Horowitz in the wind?
After Paul's voluntary interview, Booker informs him of the clues the alleged killer left behind all over the crime scene. But when Booker shows him the riddles, the pastor suddenly turns pale.
There's nothing wrong.
Pastor Torringson explains that he was the one who wrote the riddles, but never intended for them to appear at the scene of a murder.
Now this is a monkey wrench that changes everything.
Paul says that he made the riddles that morning for a Halloween scavenger hunt for the youth group, but because of the holiday, there was a lower turnout than he expected, and the scavenger hunt was to be postponed until the next weekend. He just forgot to take the clues down.
And just like that, all their theories get tossed out of the window. These aren't a series of murderous riddles. These are biblical illusions. There's no genius killer out there. I mean, is there a killer at all? I mean, this could simply be a suicide.
But Detective Booker still has questions to his dissolving mystery that continue to push his investigation in the direction of homicide. He wonders aloud to his partner, if it was a suicide that Ace Horowitz wasn't involved with, why was he running? And since when does a drug addict relapse into a drug as hard as speedball?
Drug use is tricky at best, and seasoned addicts know that if you're going to relapse, you shouldn't dive in too hard and heavy because you might die. Kurt Flair had been a drug user the bulk of his life, so he should have known better, and police wondered, was this overdose accidental?
Then, 2 more clues fall into Detective Booker's lap. After another scan of the murder scene, police find a small baggie with drug residue in the bushes nearby where Kurt's body was found. On the bag is a fingerprint that detectives hope will finally point to a killer. Pastor Torrington also tells police that the day of the scavenger hunt, a small amount of money went missing from the church. Detectives now have a new possible theory. Did Kurt Flair rob the church in order to purchase drugs? And if so, did he purchase them from Ace Horowitz? Police quickly send the drug baggie over to discover just who the mystery fingerprint belongs to. On Halloween, Detective Tyler Booker discovers the body of an ex-drug addict, Kurt Flair, behind a church dumpster. Fortunately, the clues police believed were left by the killer were actually meant for the church's scavenger hunt. Now, Booker's last lead is a mysterious fingerprint left on a drug bag. Police finally corner Ace at a local hangout and bring him in. But as Ace is waiting to be charged, another twist is thrown into the case. The fingerprints on the baggie don't belong to Ace Horowitz. In fact, the prints don't belong to anyone in the database at all.
Okay, picture this. Every cop in the department is figuring the last pieces of the puzzle are fitting in, and this drug dealer is going down. And now it's been several days since they've had a lead of any kind, and this guy, this drug dealer, he might not even be responsible?
But Detective Booker still has one last Hail Mary play up his sleeve. Police know that Ace was selling drugs the week of Kurt's death, and now they know that money went missing from the church the day Kurt died. They assume that somebody from the church purchased the drugs, and they also assume that they purchased those drugs from Ace because of his previous connection with Kurt. Ace knows that he's not getting out of this without some sort of penalty. He begins asking for immunity to being an accessory for murder.
You're gonna have to give me something good.
The detectives bite, convincing him to give his story a new coat of paint. Ace admits to selling drugs the morning of Kurt's death, but he claims he never sold anything to Kurt and hadn't since Kurt converted to Christianity. When asked by detectives why he ran away from police, Ace explained that the only alibi he had the night of Kurt's death was that he paid Kurt's mother, Karen, for sex and was otherwise occupied.
You want to know the truth?
Yes.
I was banging his mom.
Now police are feeling kind of foolish because not only is this guy not the Riddler that they thought he was, when police looked into Ace's alibi, it checked out because he was sleeping with Kurt's mom.
Detectives quickly track down Karen and confirm his alibi, leading them to their next question. Who did you sell drugs to on the morning of Kurt's death? Ace runs through a mental list of his clientele, but every name he gives Booker appears in the police database and isn't a match for the fingerprint on the drug baggie found at the crime scene. Booker presses harder. Finally, Ace recalls a client that day, someone who seemed as though they were a first-time buyer. Ace claims he never got a name from this mystery client, but describes him as an older, short, nerdy teenager with a slight facial tic. Detective Booker is quick to put a name to a face. Jeff Torrington, the pastor's son. Police quickly race over to the church. Booker arrests Jeff Torrington on the charge of homicide. In processing, detectives are able to score a match of Jeff's fingerprints on the drug baggie found at the scene of the crime.
Now things are starting to fit into place. They know who the fingerprints belong to. They've got somebody connected to both Kurt and Ace, and they've got the crime scene. But you can have all the evidence in the world, but you still need motive, and they don't got it.
Jeff admits to purchasing the drugs from Horowitz, but claims he never intended for Kurt to overdose. He says that in recent meetings, he had considered Kurt to become more withdrawn and quiet. He was worried he was on the verge of a relapse. Having learned from his father how to deal and treat drug addicts, Jeff claims he meant to buy a small dosage, not a sandbag. so that Kurt could get an easy fix without fully relapsing.
The idea is not totally unheard of, but there's something not adding up. And police can't help but think that Jeff's being a little disingenuous.
Police press harder, grilling Jeff for hours. If he was only trying to help, why did he steal money from the church instead of paying for the drugs himself? Why did he leave Kurt behind the dumpster under the clues to be discovered by just anyone? With all their leads spent, Detective Booker finally thinks he makes the right connection for motive. And he hits Jeff hard with it. Detective Booker continues to press for information that it was the pastor's son, Jeff Torrenson, who made the drug purchase. But in Jeff's interrogation, he claims he just wanted to help ease him through a relapse. But Detective Booker isn't buying it. Booker remembers the one thing that could function as a motive. Jeff's father was planning on paying for Kurt's seminary school. Booker rails on Jeff, pushing him until he finally breaks and admits that he murdered Kurt because he felt as though he was being replaced as his father's only son. The morning of Kurt's murder, Jeff stole money from the church, purchased the speedball from Ace, and then blackmailed Kurt by saying that if he didn't take all the drugs, he would tell everyone that it was Kurt who stole the money.
Take it.
At the church, Jeff points his dad's gun at Kurt and forces him to inhale the speedball. When Kurt overdosed, Jeff moved the body behind the dumpster under his father's scavenger hunt clue, left to make an alibi for himself, and planned to return the following morning to discover Kurt dead and report it to police. With his confession, Jeff Torrenson was charged with first-degree murder and charged with 25 years to life in prison.
Jeff fell victim to a number of deadly sins: wrath, pride, but mainly envy. He was jealous of his father's relationship with Kurt. And in the end, he's going to find out that it's difficult serving God while you're also serving life without parole.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and events have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, Donna and her daughter Shayna have lived a life of hardship. Shayna's illnesses have left her wheelchair-bound, and her mother has sacrificed everything to help her. But when Donna encounters evil at the hands of a stranger and her daughter goes missing, police race against time to save them and uncover a hidden secret. In a quiet, small town, Lana is concerned about her neighbors, 46-year-old Donna, and her severely handicapped teenage daughter, Shayna. Lana is worried because bizarre messages were posted on Donna's social media page earlier that day.
From an investigator's point of view, you want to pay attention to the difference in tone from the previous posts. Does it sound like a sweet, loving single mother who has selflessly raised her sickly, handicapped daughter? Or does it sound more like the writings of a deranged killer? My vote is for number 2.
Lana drops by to see what's going on. The house looks like it's been ransacked. Now, very worried about her neighbors, she calls the police. When no one answers the door, police enter the house.
Donna? Shayna?
He makes a horrific discovery. It appears that Donna has been bludgeoned to death.
Hey, dispatch, we've got a dead body here. No murder weapon at this time. No signs of forced entry. Send backup.
When you don't see any evidence of forced entry, you can often conclude that the victim knew their killer. It happens more often than we'd like to think. An unsuspecting person opens the door to their trusted friend or relative, and the murderer waltzes right in. Game over.
Police do a sweep of the entire house. The good news? The killer is gone. The bad news? So is Shayna. Shayna is confined to a wheelchair and can only travel with her mother's assistance. Everything points to a kidnapping.
Imagine the situation the police have on their hands. It stands to reason that the killer has taken Shayna. So somewhere out there, there's a severely disabled teenager whose chances of survival are slim. During my time with the FBI, I learned the hard way that if you don't find the victim of an abduction within the first 48 hours, it gets pretty grim, and it gets that way fast. There's a ticking clock, and it started hours ago.
Police interview Donna's neighbor, Lana. She tells them that Shayna has been having a romance with a man she met online.
He's really cool. He's really, really cute. He makes me laugh. He's so funny. Does your mom know? No. Oh my God, she'd kill me.
His name is Robbie, and he's a 32-year-old resident of Utah.
Now we're getting somewhere. Whenever you've got a missing woman, the first place you look is her husband or boyfriend. 85% of the time, if they haven't done the deed themselves, then they've masterminded it. And I use the term mastermind kind of lightly.
Using Robbie's social media account, where he has helpfully posted his address, the police are able to track him down to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Really? Posting your address on your social media account? Oh, come on. That has to take the cake for one of the stupidest things anyone can do, much less a potential criminal who police are looking for.
They've come prepared for a violent confrontation with a suspected brutal killer.
Sorry, I was just in the bathroom. Come in.
Who's there?
Instead of finding a sickly, disabled Shayna, possibly tied and bound,
Shayna?
the police find an able-bodied, healthy young woman.
Shayna is obviously not kidnapped, nor is she disabled. Someone's got some serious explaining to do.
Shayna and Robbie admit they've been having a secret, long-distance love affair.
The investigation has taken a bizarre and completely unexpected turn. So now the investigators have to switch lanes, throw their original assumptions out the window, and follow the breadcrumbs. And in this case, it's not a straight line.
Shayna, I've got to tell you, your mother's dead.
What?
She was murdered.
No.
I'm sorry.
No. What?
I know it's hard, but I have to ask you if you know anything.
Shayna claims to have no idea who would want to hurt her mother. Everyone loved her.
Shayna, I was under the impression that you were sick, even in a wheelchair.
Shayna tells an astonishing tale. For her whole life, she has been forced by her mother to pretend to be an invalid.
Shayna.
Mom, I feel fine.
She had none of the medical problems or illnesses Donna claimed she had. Even her age had been a lie. Most people thought Shayna was 18. In reality, she's 26.
Mother-daughter relationships are complicated at the best of times, but this takes it to a whole new level. You've got a mother who has somehow made her daughter believe all of her life that she's been sick. And you thought your mom was tough on you?
It's pretty much the wackiest case this cop has ever heard. Was Shayna truly a victim or a willing accomplice?
Sometimes criminals hide in plain sight, which can make them even more difficult to catch, and this is especially true of fraudsters like Donna. They fit seamlessly into society, and if you show them a vulnerability, they'll play you.
Who was Donna? And how did she get away with this brazen fraud for so long? Born and raised in Texas, Donna grew up with an abusive father. She had Shayna when she was only 21 years old and worked as an office cleaner to make ends meet. When Hurricane Ike hits and she loses everything, she packs up and moves north to Cheyenne, Wyoming for a fresh start.
I've been taking care of her all her life. I'm her mother, and I know what's best. She needs the surgery.
From the moment she was born, Donna claimed her daughter suffered from numerous ailments.
She's sick.
They travel from clinic to clinic, with Donna browbeating medical experts to provide the diagnosis she wants for Shayna. If one doctor doubts her claims or produces negative test results,
I'm gonna get a second opinion.
she simply goes to another. Shayna endures many unnecessary surgeries and even has a feeding tube inserted into her stomach. This allows Donna ultimate control. She can monitor what Shayna eats and can administer whatever drug she wants her to take.
Shayna, look at the beautiful colors in this book. Oh, what a cute little bird. My goodness. He seems to be quite happy to be there, too. Oh, look at these.
Donna treats Shayna as though she's many years younger than she really is.
Hey, sweetheart.
I like his shirt.
She withdraws her from school, telling everyone she is stuck with the mental capacity of a 7-year-old. By the time she's a young teen, Shayna doesn't even know her true age.
Oh, sweetheart. It's okay.
I'm not feeling well. I think I might need my pills.
Of course, sweetheart. Of course.
Shayna is, in effect, brainwashed to believe she's an incurable invalid. So the next time you think you've got problems with your own mother, think again.
Here's your check.
The public eats up the story of a single mom with a severely disabled daughter.
I'd just like to thank him.
It's been such a difficult time for me, us, and we really appreciate all the love that has gone into assisting Shayna. Being a single mom is hard, but with all the help from everyone, we really appreciate it. Don't we, Shayna?
Donna benefits from social assistance and donations.
This woman makes Joan Crawford look like a saint. Not only is she making her daughter ill, but she's making a quick and easy buck at the same time.
What no one knows is that Donna is exhibiting classic signs of a rare and highly disturbing condition.
It's going to be so helpful to us, isn't it, Shayna?
Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a disorder in which a spouse or a caregiver fabricates illness in their partner or child.
So let me spell it out for you non-believers. Basically, your loved one isn't killing you. They're simply making you sick so that they can get attention.
I would do anything for my daughter.
It's a controversial concept and not universally accepted by mental health experts.
So as an investigator, you've got to wonder, is it deliberate abuse or something that the instigator can't help? Is it a real illness or a way of rationalizing appalling behavior? In my 25 years of law enforcement, I've seen strange motives, but making your daughter believe she's dying so you can get attention, well, that pushes the crazy meter full tilt.
Shayna is forced into a life of deception until one day she makes a glorious discovery: the internet. Shayna discovers there's a whole world out there beyond the prison her mother has created for her, and she's determined to explore it.
Up until now, Shayna isn't a typical teen. But deprive them of candy and they'll want candy. Deprive them of a social life, you get the picture.
Shayna becomes quickly obsessed with the new opportunities presented.
Shayna sets up 3 secret social media accounts and communicates with people at night when Donna is asleep. And by people, I mean boys. And by boys, I mean men.
Shayna's first attempt at independence takes place at a comic book convention, a rare treat from Donna for her sick daughter. Shayna takes the first chance she can get and ducks out of Donna's view.
Shayna! Get your hands off my daughter, you pervert! She's only 16! I'm gonna call the police.
Beware a mother scorned, especially one with psychological issues.
And you are never going to leave me. And this, you are never going to see again. Ever. Ever.
Every rational human being has their breaking point. And the moment in the hotel room is the proverbial last straw for Shayna.
Donna eventually gives back the computer, figuring that Shayna has learned her lesson. But Shayna has other plans and begins plotting to escape her mother and their life of deception for good.
The internet has changed the world in a lot of ways, from how we interact with each other to how we form intimate relationships.
Enter Robbie. Maybe not the greatest catch in the world, but for an isolated young girl whose only means of communicating with the outside world is online, not bad. Together, they create a vivid online fantasy world. But fantasy soon crosses over to reality, and they start dreaming of a life together.
There's only one thing standing in the way of her happily ever after. Mommy dearest. So you might think to yourself, why not just run away? Shayna probably thinks her mother will track her down and destroy her one chance at happiness.
After a year of dating online, Shayna and Robbie finally meet IRL, in real life, at a movie theater. The movie can wait. They find a private spot to consummate their relationship. It's no honeymoon suite, but it'll do just fine.
Let's run away together.
What?
Yes.
I can't. My mom. No, she wouldn't understand. She needs to be gone for me to be with you.
Shayna reveals to Robbie her big plan to permanently erase her jailkeeper, AKA her mother, from her life. And she needs Robbie's help.
If I had a girlfriend and she told me on our first official date that she wanted to kill her mother, I'd run for the hills. But then again, love can cause people to throw caution to the wind. If I were to venture a guess, I'd say the fantasy world Shayna has created has crossed over from fantasy to delusion, and she's looking for someone to do her bidding.
Let's do it.
While Donna sleeps like a log, Shayna sneaks out of her bedroom and quietly lets Robbie into her house.
That's perfect. We gotta do this.
Are you sure about this?
100%. I've never been more sure about anything.
I love you too.
With Donna blissfully unaware, her beloved daughter prepares to cut her sleep a little short.
Years of psychological abuse may give Donna cause for regret, as her daughter, Shayna, executes her plan for freedom.
Children killing their parents is very rare. It's even more rare for a daughter to be involved in killing her mother. But Shayna is caught in a perfect storm. She lives an isolated life, and she has an unwavering belief that there is no other way out.
Once Donna is dead, Shayna takes $3,000 of her mother's money, and with Robbie, heads to his home in Salt Lake City, where she's ultimately arrested. The people of Cheyenne are utterly shocked. There, on the evening news, is Shayna. Her hands are cuffed behind her back. But more shocking than the murder charge is the fact that she's walking. Although the murder appears premeditated, given the unique nature of her circumstance, Shayna is allowed to plead guilty to second-degree murder. She's sentenced to 15 years in prison. Some are convinced Shayna's intent was pure evil. Others see Shayna as a brainwashed victim who made a desperate bid to free herself from her monstrous mother.
Mother-daughter relationships can be difficult to navigate, and a daughter killing her own mother can be hard to understand. But maybe Shayna inherited more from her mother than she realized when she entered this made-up fantasy world. She simply played her part in the fairy tale and rid the world of the villain.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when a young woman is murdered, detectives follow the bizarre trail from takeout tacos to a bachelor party. And just when they start to think the killer might get away with murder, they uncover the truth behind the vicious attack and find themselves smack dab in the middle of a Shakespearean tragedy.
My love. And I am no longer a Capulet.
A 29-year-old former first responder has failed to show up to his uncle's house for dinner. When he calls his cell, it goes straight to voicemail. Worried about his nephew, Mr. Simons drives over to the apartment and lets himself in with the spare key.
Robbie! Robbie, you okay?
Rob's apartment looks tidy, but his nephew is nowhere to be seen. When he looks in Rob's bedroom, he's horrified. He sees the body of a young woman prostrate on the bed, and on the front of her t-shirt, the words, "She's all yours," are scrawled in black marker.
Can you send someone?
When you've worked as many crime scenes as I have, you often see the killer leaving some kind of message. This one seems to suggest the suspect was leaving a note for another lover. Love triangles are one of the most common motives for murder. So the killer is essentially saying, I don't want her anymore, you can have her. But of course, they can't, for obvious reasons.
When police arrive, they survey the scene. The young woman has been stabbed, her pants cut off, suggesting a sexual assault. A knife is on the bed, likely the murder weapon. At first glance, she's been stabbed several times in the back. Under the body, a cell phone, presumably the victim's.
Detectives are looking for the murder weapon or weapons. These are the most obvious clues found at a crime scene that can lead to the killer. But just because there's weapons found near the body, it doesn't necessarily mean they were used in the crime.
The victim is 21-year-old Lisa. Born to Italian immigrants, she's a kind and caring young woman who always looks out for her friends. And one of those friends is Rob. Lisa and Rob met at college. They became close when she offered to tutor him.
So right now, this isn't looking so good for Rob. His close friend is found dead in his bed, and he is nowhere to be seen. Detectives are putting together the pieces of this puzzle, and it looks like Rob may have had some romantic feelings towards his friend. If those feelings were unrequited, bam, there's your motive.
Mr. Simons tells detectives that Rob couldn't have committed this crime. He's been taking a break from his work as a first responder due to a work-related injury. According to Simons, he's been suffering with PTSD and was having nightmares. But the meds seem to be helping. He insists that Lisa and Rob were extremely close friends, more like brother and sister, and they had no romantic inclinations toward each other. In fact, Mr. Simons is concerned that Lisa's killer has kidnapped his nephew and that he is in imminent danger.
In my experience, it's very common for relatives of criminals to deny their loved one did anything wrong. You'll often see daddy or auntie come swooping into their kid's defense when all the evidence points directly to their precious little Johnny.
As detectives search the crime scene, they develop a different theory. They find no signs of a struggle in the apartment. If someone subdued Rob, they believe the young, strong first responder would have put up a fight. They also find his car and his passport missing. But what really seals Rob's fate are the text messages on Lisa's phone. They reveal a distressed Rob reaching out to Lisa in the early morning hours.
More and more signs are pointing to Rob. He has a dead girl in his apartment, his passport and car are missing, and now messages on Lisa's phone show him inviting her over. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out he's your prime suspect. You know how the saying goes, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Detectives dig deeper into Rob's life and learn some alarming details. Right before becoming a first responder, Rob was involved with a bad crowd. He was arrested along with his friends and charged with assault. He was eventually acquitted and exonerated of the crime, but detectives are still alarmed.
Yeah. Just because you've been acquitted of a crime doesn't mean you didn't do it, and the cops know that. It just means the DA didn't have enough evidence to pin it on you. So this guy's suffering from PTSD, and he's previously been arrested for assault. And that is a dangerous cocktail. They need to find this ticking time bomb fast.
They track Rob's movement through his finances and discover his bank card has been used 4 times at different ATMs across the city. The last withdrawal was an hour ago. That means Rob could still be in the city.
Cash withdrawals and debit purchases leave a money trail that's easy for police to track. Criminals should know better, but hey, we're not talking about the top 1% of Harvard graduates, are we? It looks like Rob is feeling the pressure, and it's causing him to get a little sloppy.
But when police obtain surveillance footage from the ATM, they get a shock. It's not Rob withdrawing money, but an unidentified white male wearing a baseball cap.
This is a curveball the detective didn't see coming. They were expecting to see Rob, not some pimply teenager. So now they have to figure out who this kid is, how he fits in the picture, and most importantly, how they can track him down.
As they search for their new suspect, the cops get a lucky break. Someone uses Rob's bank card to order Mexican food for delivery to their house.
Of all the ways to get caught, ordering a few tacos is really a new one. I'll give him points for originality, I mean, at the very least.
Investigators follow the tacos to a home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The police gather outside the house.
Police, open up!
But when nobody answers, they break down the door.
Freeze, clear!
Police get a big surprise.
Show me your hand!
It's not Rob. It's the young man from the ATM machine.
After all these years as an investigator, nothing surprises me. But this is a twist even I wasn't expecting. The challenge with this type of case is that you have to remain kind of nimble. You have to be able to refocus and figure out your next steps. And you got to do that fast because you've got a killer on the loose.
The young man is 20-year-old Kevin, a freshman at the local community college. As the police search his house, the detective finds an important piece of evidence: Rob's bank card.
How'd you get Rob's bank card?
Listen, I don't know who Rob is, okay? I don't know anything about any of this. I have this family friend, right? And he told me, he showed me these documents and said, you just gotta go around all these ATMs and take some cash out.
Which friend?
His name is Jack. Let me just grab one second.
Jack told him he works for a bail bond agency. He's collecting some outstanding debt.
Right there. That's him. That's Jack.
He swears on his mother's life that he has no idea who Rob is.
Jack, where can I find Jack?
Beats me, man. I mean, you know.
Instinct always plays a part in any investigation, and whenever you're interrogating a suspect, you use it to determine whether or not they are lying. So if this young kid is to be believed, and it looks like he is, it seems we've got some kind of trickster manipulating a naive teenager for financial gain. The question is, to what end?
Detectives learn that 28-year-old Jack is a fun, outgoing amateur actor with a magnetic personality. He grew up with loving parents who gave him every opportunity in life. And he has no history of violence or psychological problems. He's a big player in the local theater scene, often playing the leading man in their productions.
Oh, speak again, bright angel. For thou art as glorious to this night being o'er my head as is a winged messenger of heaven unto the white...
Jack is good at what he does, and he loves the limelight. But he's happy to be king of the community theater world rather than seeking fame and fortune in Hollywood.
Be but sworn by love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
I felt really in it. Shall we do it again?
How about bigger? How about even bigger? Just to...
Yes.
All the way up, and then
I
we push it down.
want to feel it from my soul.
Yeah. And then we'll push it down into our toes.
Yes.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
Okay.
He's engaged to fellow actress Nicole, who often plays the female lead opposite him. They've been living together for a year and are eagerly anticipating their elaborate wedding, followed by a tropical beach honeymoon. They're currently starring in a Shakespearean tragedy produced by the local theater company, My Way or Broadway. The wedding is scheduled 5 days after the close of the show.
And I will no longer be a Capulet. Whose phone went off? Seriously, we're in rehearsal. Really?
Larry!
But what police find most interesting about the thespian is not his range as an actor, but his home address. He lives 1 floor above Rob in the same apartment complex.
Proximity, proximity, proximity. It's a key factor when you're trying to make a link between suspects. So you got Rob, who's our murder suspect, and Jack, who is taking money out of his account. And they live next door to each other. Highly unlikely this is coincidence. I'm betting they're in cahoots. The question that needs to be answered is how and why.
Detective Young contacts Jack and asks him to come down to the police station for a chat. He refuses, telling them he's attending his bachelor party. But the police wait for no man, especially when attending his own bachelor party.
Have a seat, Jack.
Jack is accused of helping Rob escape capture.
What's up?
Can you tell me about Rob?
Rob. My buddy Rob.
While Jack admits to knowing Rob, he claims he has no idea where he is. When the detectives threaten to throw him in jail, he sticks to his story.
No.
Look, this is not a joke. You can miss your wedding. I'm dead serious. I will lock you up. Is that the kind of game you want to play?
Jack finally capitulates.
Okay, man. Okay, I'll tell you everything I know, okay?
Some investigators threaten suspects with a horror of jail or an arrest or something trivial like that. I used to like to threaten them with not being able to go to their kids' college graduation, their 5-year-old kid's college graduation.
I was at the theater performing in my play, Romeo and Juliet, with my fiancée. And it was a fantastic night, actually. And we went home, went to bed. I woke up the next morning to this pounding on the door, okay? I open it up, and what do I see but Rob standing in front of me, wild-eyed, like a madman. Arms flexed and veins pulsing and forehead just about to burst. He tells me, Jack, I've killed Lisa.
It's a one-man show, and Jack has the starring role. But his over-the-top performance piques Detective Young's suspicion. In other words, he doth protest too much. He paints a picture of Rob as on the run and desperate for cash.
And he asked me for money. He says, I've got to get out of here. I got to go. Got to get away. I got to go on the run. I got to...
Where's Rob now?
No, I don't know.
I always love a good performance, and nothing gives me more pleasure than to watch a stupid criminal think he's playing the detectives. I just need a bag of popcorn, and I'm set.
Detective Young tightens the screws on Jack and collects his DNA to compare to the crime scene. He also asks for a writing sample to compare the killer's note left on Lisa's t-shirt. And when he asks to see his phone, they hit pay dirt. They discover incriminating online searches made on the week before the murder.
If I wasn't in the business of catching killers, I'd open a school for dumb criminals and teach one class and one class only. B, if you're going to commit a crime, don't, I repeat, do not do an internet search on your computer or phone on how to do it.
And so you research how to get rid of a corpse.
Feeling the heat, Jack suddenly changes his story. Again.
Okay. I went down to his place with him. Detective.
He admits to being in Rob's apartment on the night of the murder, but denies being there when the murder actually occurred.
So
here's where you can tell the professional criminals from the amateurs. The pros stick to their story, no matter what. It doesn't matter what you throw at them. The newbies crack. They keep changing their story. They scramble to come up with something that makes sense. And this, my friends, is amateur hour.
And
Jack tells Detective Young that Rob came upstairs begging for his help that night. He claims he went down to Rob's apartment, uncertain as to what he would find. But when he stepped into Rob's bedroom, he saw a horrible sight.
What did you see? I saw Lisa dead. If he killed her, man.
Jack has been putting on quite a performance until now, but detectives have forced him into a corner. It remains to be seen whether he can act his way out of this one or not.
Lying on the bed.
When he's pressed to describe what he saw, he makes a fateful blunder.
What exactly did you see?
I saw that she'd been stabbed in the back 3 times.
Detectives know something that Jack doesn't. That's information only the killer would know.
Here's the thing. You wouldn't be able to tell how many times Lisa was stabbed just by looking at the body. With this kind of injury, there's just too much blood. The only way you would know how many times the victim was wounded is if you were there.
Can I make a phone call?
Realizing the cops are closing in, Jack asks to speak to his fiancée, Nicole, on the phone.
Nicole. Hey, it's me.
She tells him she's found a bag with bloody clothes and Rob's passport in it. She warns Jack that she's going to tell the police about it. He begs her not to.
Nicole, don't do that, okay? I can explain everything.
Remember what I said about teaching only one class to criminals? I take it back. I'm going to make it 2. When you make a phone call from jail or a police station, the cops can hear you. They record the calls. Any attempt to talk secretly or in code is going to get you nowhere. In fact, it'll only dig yourself deeper into a pit of self-incrimination.
Okay, so I did it. I killed them both, okay? You want to know how I did it? I got him to the theater, and I let him into the back. I told him I needed his help carrying some bags to my car. Said I hurt my shoulder in a rehearsal.
I can bring him down to your car?
Please, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, Rob.
As Rob bends down to pick up the bags, Jack grabs him from behind and slits his throat.
I just slit his throat. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Then he waits for Rob to bleed out. He steals Rob's wallet, cell phone, and apartment keys. That night, Jack goes on with the show, putting on an incredible performance. After the show is over, he and Nicole go back to their apartment. Posing as Rob, he sends a text message to Rob's college friend, Lisa, who Jack had previously met. Just after 11, Lisa arrives at Rob's apartment building.
Hi, Lisa, come in, please.
He tells her Rob texted him too, asking for help. He says Rob is in the bedroom.
Oh, well, you know how he is. He won't get out of bed. Let me take your coat.
He's careful to wipe his prints from the knife. Proceeds to cut off Lisa's pants with one of Rob's scissors from his first responder kit. and writes, "She's all yours," on her t-shirt. Jack then steals Rob's car keys and passport.
Despite the guy's penchant for overacting, he obviously did a good enough job to convince Lisa, who he'd only met a couple of times before, to walk into his trap. And then, in some twisted drama of his own making, he tries to destroy Rob's reputation by making him look like a rapist and a murderer.
The next day, Jack returns to the theater and dismembers Rob's body. He takes his body parts to an abandoned industrial site, where he disposes of them in several steel drums. What he tells the police next is probably the most disturbing part of the story.
It was, seriously, dude, I was kind of laughing while I was doing it. It was weird, but it was kind of fun. It felt like I was in a movie, you know, like that scene. Yeah.
If we didn't know it before, we know it now. There's a lot of words I can think of for somebody like this, but why don't we just stick to the professional one? Psychopath.
Yeah, and I put all the bits in different steel drums.
But why would a seemingly well-adjusted, well-loved, well-raised young man commit such a heinous crime?
There's always gotta be a motive, even with self-absorbed psychopaths. This guy's been forthcoming so far, but that doesn't mean he's gonna give it all to the cops on a silver platter. And it doesn't mean it's gonna make sense.
And I was having a pretty difficult time. Lost in the woods, you might say, yeah? And well, I have a bit of trouble with what people call truth, because really, who gets to decide what's true? Detective? Do you?
Jack admits he's a pathological liar that has been in a downward spiral for 2 years.
Yeah, it'd be like
our
our engagement premiere,
That's
and
pretty cool.
so we could have our engagement photos outside.
He has allowed his passion for theater to take up all his time and energy, and has moved from one low-paying, dead-end job to another. At the time of the murder, he's 2 months behind in his rent and facing eviction. As debts slowly close in on him, he starts worrying about how he's going to pay for his upcoming wedding and honeymoon. He starts borrowing money from friends, and when that avenue runs out, his money situation becomes even more desperate.
Yeah,
But-
should we can talk on the way.
Sure.
On the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see this a lot in my business. Desperation leads to stupidity. Once a criminal feels like the walls are closing in, they're probably not gonna make good decisions from there on out. It kind of takes the desperate times call for desperate measures idea just a little too far, you know?
But Jack knows someone who has a lot of money, if only he can get his hands on it.
Yeah, no, this is it's a smart TV. Look, I'm on the internet right now. How cool is that? Yeah, so I could basically...
Rob Simons had received $80,000 as a settlement after a work injury as a first responder.
TV, you know?
When Jack finds this out, he devises a way to make that money his own.
$80,000 might seem like a small amount of money to kill for, but to Jack, this was enough to solve all of his money problems, avoid eviction, pay for his wedding, and pay for his honeymoon. From his skewed point of view, it was worth it.
I just needed money. I just needed the money.
Jack couldn't admit to his fiancée that he had no job, no money, and couldn't afford to marry her. Most people at this point would either get a job or postpone the wedding. Not Jack, though. He decides his best solution is to kill his neighbor. And then, this is where it gets even more crazy, he decides to also kill Lisa to cover his tracks.
On the day Jack was supposed to marry his fiancée Nicole, he is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. At trial, he pleads not guilty, despite having previously confessed. But the jury are not convinced by his theatrics and find him guilty of murder. Jack is sentenced to life without parole, with no more roles to play except for that of a convicted felon.
East and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon.
Evil has many different faces. This one had 2. The popular and fun-loving actor and the selfish, cold-blooded killer. Jack cast himself in the role of double murderer and probably thought he could get away with it. But his penchant for performing was too great, and he acted himself into a corner his skills couldn't get him out of. This was a crime so bizarre that he committed 2 savage murders so he could have a beach honeymoon. He wrote himself a twisted tale to star in and left 2 innocent victims in the wings. Even Shakespeare in all his glory couldn't have written this one. Stephen King, on the other hand, well, you get the picture.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders,
you don't have a shred of evidence against my client.
Patrick is a big-shot attorney with a reputation as a ladies' man. But when he meets the woman of his dreams, he's hooked.
Marry me.
Beautiful, smart, and hiding more secrets than the Pentagon.
I'll let him know that you called, okay?
He's got no idea. Yeah! She's about to become his worst nightmare. Savannah, Georgia. A city overflowing with good old Southern charm and hospitality. But also a hot spot for crime. And the domain of the sharply dressed gentleman and criminal lawyer, Patrick.
You don't have a shred of evidence against my client. I'll have this charge thrown out before your coffee gets cold.
Oozing charisma and smarts, Patrick is a consummate showman. He's the go-to guy for everyone, from trust fund kids charged with sexual assault to murderous drug dealers. Patrick is a larger-than-life figure in and out of the courtroom. He's been married and divorced 3 times. Patrick may be a high flyer, but he's not without his demons. He's well known for going on benders, disappearing for days before sobering up and getting back to work.
Patrick is what we call a high-functioning alcoholic. He may think he's always in control, but like any addict, he's prone to making some pretty impulsive moves. It's that mentality that can open you up to trouble, no matter how smart you think you are.
You have a resume for me?
I do.
Patrick meets Amanda when she comes in to interview for a paralegal position.
So, why do you think you're a good fit for the job here?
Well, Patrick. Can I call you Patrick?
Yeah.
He's immediately taken with her.
It's gotta be here, Amanda.
There.
Amanda quickly establishes herself as an outstanding employee.
Right?
You're right. Excellent work. Excellent work.
She's quick to impress, both at work and during off hours.
You are something else, you know that?
Amanda is different than any other woman he's met before, or married.
You're smart. You're beautiful.
Patrick falls hard and fast. Very soon, they're in a serious relationship.
I think you got something behind your ear. No, this one right here. Right there.
And when Patrick pops the question,
marry me.
Just try and stop me.
Amanda doesn't hesitate.
I guess Patrick never heard of the old saying, marry in haste, repent at your leisure. but he's one of those guys who can't stand being alone. Who knows? Maybe fourth time's a charm. Good luck. He's just proposed to the woman he barely knows. Sure, she's beautiful and good at her job, but who is she really? Married life always has a way of unpacking everybody's baggage sooner or later.
Amanda and Patrick settle into what looks like wedded bliss.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Thanks, babe.
Breakfast is served. Pancakes your favorite?
Patrick loves taking care of his new wife.
With a side of diamond.
That is so beautiful.
For you.
Oh, wow. I love it. Thanks, babe.
And in turn,
Yeah, come on, princess! Get moving, get moving!
Amanda opens up a whole new world for Patrick when she introduces him to her passion, horse racing.
She's hot! She's hot! She's coming! She's coming! She's coming! Yeah! We are in the money!
From his first derby in mint julep, Patrick is hooked. And it doesn't take long for Amanda to convince Patrick to buy their own racehorse.
Oh my God!
Sweet.
Soon, they're in the winner's circle.
What?
But a few months after their wedding,
Doesn't make sense.
Patrick discovers the woman of his dreams isn't as perfect as he thought she was. The state bar accuses Amanda of embezzling nearly $100,000 from client trust accounts and siphoning it back into the firm.
They're accusing you of embezzling $100,000. Like, what do you have to say for yourself?
I don't know what to say.
When Patrick confronts her,
You have to forgive me.
Amanda offers no explanation.
Her husband's loaded, but she deliberately steals from his clients. What's the payoff? Either Amanda's not a very good thief or this is emotional blackmail. She's testing the limits of Patrick's love for her. Now, I call that some kind of baggage.
Instead of letting Amanda pay the piper, Patrick, the ever-doting husband, pays back the money, packs up his practice, and the two lovebirds head east to start over with a clean slate.
Patrick has fallen under the spell of his new bride, who's no ordinary trophy wife. But will her charms prove to be toxic?
Patrick sets up a new practice in Greenwich, Connecticut as a real estate lawyer. And it's not long before his practice is thriving. Once again, he and Amanda are living the high life. Patrick and Amanda's passion for horses only grows with the move to Connecticut.
And here's to victory. Yeah!
They're now owners of 3 prize-winning stallions and fixtures on the racing circuit.
No, sorry, he's not here right now.
I want to talk to my dad now. I haven't seen him since the wedding.
Well, I'll let him know that you called, okay?
Yeah, please do.
All right. Bye.
Patrick's never been happier, but his family and friends are having doubts about his latest wife.
Thank you.
Who was that?
Oh, it's just some pesky telemarketer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Amanda is extremely evasive when asked about her past, and his family complain she's cutting them off from Patrick. Even when his daughter Maggie digs into her past and finds out Amanda has been in trouble for writing a bad check, Patrick refuses to hear anything against her and cuts off ties.
So we've got a new young wife whose sticky fingers put her husband in a dicey position. Patrick had to move his home and practice to save face. This looks like the earmarks of a narcissist who can't see how her actions reflect on anyone else. But now, Amanda is isolating Patrick from family and old friends, making him totally dependent on her for his happiness. And that sounds familiar to me. This is the MO of a con artist.
I don't know what we're gonna do about this.
I know, but see, I was doing some research, and if we go down to this section...
With business booming, Amanda, who is now managing the office, decides to hire herself an assistant.
That gets us out of the issue we had over here, right?
This set looks really good on you.
Thank you.
Brooke is pretty, bright, and very eager to learn.
Oh, what did he say to you?
So he started going on about something, and I said, I'm sorry, but those accounts just aren't yours.
Right?
It's not going to work that way. So I'm not entirely sure what he was thinking, but.
The two women click instantly, and soon they're inseparable.
Good for you, though, seriously. Wow.
Well, I learned from the best, so.
Usually, Patrick would be up for a little menage a trois fun, but not when the other woman looks like she'd like to cut him out of the equation completely.
Don't you have somewhere else to be?
Here's a guy who turns a blind eye to his wife's embezzlement attempt, but not when somebody's making a play for her affections. Brooke seems as obsessed as he is about Amanda, and worse, Amanda appears to be returning the feelings. Love triangles can be messy. Who's gonna throw down first is anyone's guess.
No, did you see it? So good.
Oh, great. Right on time, 30 minutes late. And what is she doing here? Amanda, what is she doing here? No.
I invited her.
Get her out. Get her out. I want her out. I want her out.
Tensions reach a boiling point when Brooke shows up unannounced at the biggest horse race of the season.
You're fired. I want her out. You're
I'm
fired.
fired.
The Duchess Cup.
You can't fire me. I don't work for you.
Oh,
So-
I just did.
I'm sorry, you're not my boss.
I just fired you. Amanda,
Patrick,
fire your little whatever the
take
hell.
it easy. Let's all
Fired.
just
Get her
go
out.
to the Derby and have a good time together. How about that?
Oh, I've been having a great time. I've been having a great time.
I'm not leaving, so you can just deal with that, or maybe you don't have to go to the Derby.
With two horses in the running, Patrick has a lot riding on the race.
Come on, let's go.
Run it!
A $1 million purse, to be exact. So for now, he's laying off Brooke, but not the booze.
Win me some money. Win me some money.
2 laps in, and Patrick is barely holding it together.
I don't feel so good.
Come on. Come on, run it. Run it. Run. Come on. No.
He might be a killer in the courtroom, but Patrick ought to watch his back when it comes to competing for a woman's heart.
God, he's so heavy.
So disgusting.
Smells like a tiki bar. Jesus Christ.
Back in the hotel room, things go from bad to worse for Patrick.
Let me get our medicine for our sick patient here.
You don't need an FBI badge to see Amanda's made her choice and that she has a more permanent solution to her Patrick problem. Get rid of him for good.
Time to take your medicine like a good boy.
Patrick tries to beg for his life, but he's paralyzed. Whatever Amanda gave him is powerful.
Why kill Patrick? For the money? And what's Amanda's plan once he's dead? It's going to be tough to explain how he died if there's an autopsy and they find poison in his system. And if she gets rid of the body, there's going to be other questions. Patrick is well known in legal and horse racing circles. People are going to notice if he's missing.
Damn, what are you doing? Oh, look at him. Hurry up. Oh my God, just we don't have time for this. Well, let's go. He looks ridiculous. Let's go.
After managing to sneak Patrick out of the hotel, they drive to a secluded area so Amanda can get rid of the body.
So the thing about poison is, if you're not an expert like you or me, chances are you don't know exactly how much you'll need or how long it'll take to do the job.
Check his pulse.
He's still breathing.
Are you kidding me?
This is where Amanda faces a moral crossroads of sorts. Does she bury him alive or wait it out?
Well, let's take him home.
In the end, she opts for a weekend at Patrick's move. Oh, yeah, I know it's not the name of the movie.
Can you go check on him?
Not yet.
It takes another 6 hours before Patrick finally draws his last breath. Only Amanda's problems are far from over.
If you're going to go as far as killing a guy, then you better go all the way and put him 6 feet under.
Fridge.
Not in the fridge. I mean, that might slow decomposition, but it won't stop it altogether. So now they face the risk of A, someone discovering the body when they go to look for Chardonnay, or B, as time goes by, it gets harder to get rid of a rotting corpse without anybody suspecting. And then there's C. Where are they gonna put all that wine now?
Cheers.
Yeah.
At first, when Patrick doesn't show up at the office, people assume he's gone on another bender. Amanda and Brooke get to work cleaning out Patrick's accounts and selling off his assets to a tune of $600,000.
I couldn't have done it better myself.
They liquidate everything except Patrick's prize-winning horses. I guess Amanda's got a sentimental streak. Or she just loves horses more than she loves people.
While Patrick is stuffed in the wine fridge, they burn through his money on flashy new cars, wild nights out, and expensive jewelry. Then Brooke moves in. She and Amanda settle into domestic bliss.
I've heard that couples who've been together for a long time start to actually resemble one another. This terrifies my wife. But in this situation, it's just creepy. I'd say master manipulator Amanda is up to something.
As the weeks pass, people start inquiring about Patrick's whereabouts. Amanda and Brooke feed them a web of lies.
These two ladies get real creative. They tell his clients he's out of town, but friends and family, like his daughter, are told he's in rehab in Costa Rica, and he's joined a cult. They're convinced people will buy what they're selling, and they're gonna get away with it. Ladies, I really hate to burst your bubble, but real life isn't a movie. Sooner or later, people are gonna get wise.
Worried sick,
Detective Novak?
Patrick's daughter Maggie reports him missing to the police.
Okay.
Amanda somehow catches wind the police want to talk to her about her missing husband. That's her cue. She needs to get rid of the body. They drive to Atlantic City and check into a hotel. While Brooke waits in the room, Amanda scouts a suitable place to bury Patrick.
I could have told Amanda that getting rid of a body isn't as easy as it looks, but she's got an even bigger problem now. As soon as Patrick is out of the fridge, decomposition speeds up. It's no fun having cops breathing down your neck with a stench like that oozing from your trunk. It smells like about 200 pounds of rotted, maggot-infested meat. That little pine tree under your rearview mirror, it's not gonna cut it. She has to move fast.
The next day, Amanda finally manages to bury Patrick in a shallow grave in the countryside, 100 miles from her home. Then, Amanda drains the firm's cash deposits, over $100,000, and closes down the office. Finally, she sends Brooke a text. But when Brooke arrives to meet up with her girlfriend, Amanda is nowhere to be found.
Amanda's flown the coop with a whole lot of cash. Sure, she can run, but the question is, will she get away with murder?
When Patrick's body is found in a shallow grave, police launch a nationwide manhunt for Amanda. The coroner determines that Patrick died from ingesting large quantities of asapromazine, a common horse tranquilizer.
I've seen my share of murder weapons, but this is a first. There is nothing common about death by horse tranquilizers. Amanda's big problem is she's practically pointed a finger at herself. It's no secret that she and Patrick owned horses, so she had access to what? Horse tranquilizer. That's means. She stole Patrick's money. That's motive. But ironically, if she hadn't put him in the fridge, she might still have gotten away with murder. See, decomposition destroys everything, including most poisons. If she'd buried him pronto, Patrick would have been worm food already, but preserving him meant the poison was still traceable in his organs and bodily fluids. Once the tox screen was run, it's good night, Amanda.
Police dig into Amanda's background and discover she's got a rap sheet of over 100 frauds and theft offenses. And she's got 30 aliases. Among them, Elizabeth, the horse whisperer, Crystal, the real estate agent, and Shanty, the massage therapist. Her real name is Karen.
Anyone with that many aliases gets as much of an adrenaline rush from scamming people as they do stealing money. They don't see the world the way you and I do. They're actors who spin tales to boost their own egos. Getting people to buy into the fantasy is what gets them off. And as soon as they've acquired the information to forge another identity, they're off to rinse and repeat.
Authorities eventually track Amanda to Myrtle Beach, where it all began. She's got a new ID, a new job, and guess what? A new man. Amanda is arrested and gives a full confession.
Amanda's got that gift that all clever con artists have, the ability to reinvent themselves. They instinctively know how to play their mark by becoming exactly what the mark needs them to be. They gain trust using many techniques, but it's all part of a big game.
It all started when Patrick and I started to have marital problems. Brooke came into the picture, and to be honest, I did feel like we had something special.
But why Amanda decided to kill Patrick instead of merely draining him dry? Could be she actually had real feelings for Brooke.
But there was something wrong with her. It wasn't enough for her to just have me divorce him.
But obviously not enough to take the rap all by herself.
I really hope that she gets the help she needs.
Brooke is brought in for questioning.
Okay, Brooke, tell me what you know.
I'm just his assistant. I don't really know what's going on. I'm not really sure.
But denies any involvement in the murder.
She's made a confession, and your name is all over it.
That's not true. If you're gonna pin this on anyone, it's her fault.
Looks like Mini-Me picked up a few tips from her master. The con artist MO is never cop to anything. Their defense is, hey, the mark was just asking to be had.
I'll show them.
If convicted, both the women could face the death penalty. But Amanda doesn't give prosecutors a chance. She kills herself in jail while awaiting trial.
The letter she leaves behind is to her lawyer, instructing him to sue the police for giving her the means to kill herself. She wants a settlement to go to her horses. You gotta hand it to her. Even in death, Amanda can't help herself. For a con artist, failure is not the end. It's just a signal to try a new angle.
Luckily for Brooke, there's no physical evidence tying her directly to the crime. She's sentenced to 10 years for voluntary manslaughter and fraud.
I bet Brooke spent some quality time trying to figure out why Amanda did what she did. I mean, she had all the time in the world to. But when all's said and done, with Amanda dead, no one will ever really know her true motivations. And I kind of suspect that even Amanda herself wasn't too sure. Like the saying goes, though, it's a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma.